Jerry, since I'm a matchmaker and I deal with matching people for long-term relationships, soulmates, I coach women, I've got to ask you, and I've seen some of your YouTube videos. You did talk about, leaving somebody if they're not treating you well, or there was some really good stuff. And you've been divorced. Just speak a little bit. I'm coming across a lot of people, especially with this COVID era and different things happening. There's a lot of breakups. There's so much pain. I see there's a lot of people that we're dealing with, people with narcissistic personality disorders or traits, and then they can't get over it. I'm talking to women who are 1 year broken up, 2 years broken up. They're still in pain. They can hardly function. What can you, I don't know, just some words or to tell people how to heal that, or what's going on? Why can't we get so attached to one person? Maybe they're not even treating us well, and we can't let go. We're obsessing. We can't let go of them. We're worried about them. What's going to happen to them? So it's a lot.
The most important thing to say is that, whoever is listening, I'm talking to you all as individuals, you are all the most important human being in your own world, and you're all the most important soul in your own universe. And you should always put yourself first and foremost. And if someone's not treating you well, leave. Okay, you have to have enough honor and respect for yourself to say, I'm not putting up with this. It doesn't matter what happens to them. It doesn't matter if you hurt their feelings. If they're not treating you right, never put their feelings before you, ever. Okay. Now, the other thing is, we're like a bunch of crackheads on this planet, right? We're addicted to so many things. And one of the things that we're addicted to is trauma.
Yes.
Okay. If you get into a narcissistic or a bit of a crappy relationship and someone's treating you not very well, whether they beat you, whether it's emotional or physical or sexual, you're going to experience trauma. And that trauma has a chemical release in the body. Now, if you don't deal with that trauma and deal with that chemical release, then you're going to enter into what's known as a refractory period, which is the time from when that chemical has been released. You start playing this situation out over and over and over in your head. So you start to imagine and think about the trauma that happened, and you keep replaying it and keep releasing those chemicals in your body. And your body's like a crackhead being addicted to these chemicals. So your body starts to control and run your life. And so your body communicates with your brain and gets you to go back into these relationships or stay in this relationship or recreates it subconsciously, because the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not. So if you have an experience in your head where you've been beaten, whether you replay the old experience or you recreate a new experience, the body is getting its fix. So we have to be strong enough and disciplined enough to break away from the pain of whoever or whatever. And we've got to be strong enough and disciplined enough to get out of our heads and into our hearts and live in our body and our heart, to follow our life compass and make choices that are congruent to our goals and our dreams, and that will elevate our frequency and expand our consciousness and keep us in a high vibrational, happy state that is just joy filled and bliss filled and ecstasy filled. And if you're not waking up in that joy, bliss, ecstasy, bliss state of consciousness, something's wrong. And if something is wrong and you're not waking up in those states of consciousness, you've got to go into your heart and ask yourself, why? Where is this coming from? Where is the pain that is unresolved in my cells, in my DNA, on a cellular level? And you've got to go and you've got to bring this stuff to the surface and transmute it so you can move on from it.
Yeah, one thing I did with an old relationship was I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I was crying and crying. And so I'd keep going back to my journals and my notes and looking, oh yeah, he said this, he said that, he insulted me here, the verbal abuse. And to remind myself why I shouldn't be thinking about him or going back, but it didn't seem to help. So I think what you're saying is, yeah, because my whole nervous system, everything, that trauma kept replaying, it kept it activated.
Really, you've got to change your focus. You've got to focus on something completely different. Like if someone comes to me and says, Jerry, I've got a brain tumor. I'm like, where? I can't see it. It doesn't exist in my reality, because if I see it, I'm giving it energy and power and expanding its power. So I create a completely different reality and make that reality my client's reality. And then, that's one way of healing. So you can't give the disease, the trauma, any focus or attention. You have to completely shift your awareness to something different and new.
And all right. Well, Jerry, thank you so much. I won't keep you anymore. This has been so fascinating. And Can't wait to, continue and see what more magic you're bringing to the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Marla. It was a pleasure to be here, sister. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.